Hello and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Amy Van Meel. I'm delighted to be here with you today. I had the most wonderful weekend. It was off the charts, relaxing, joyful, loving. My heart felt so full, and I had that deep, expanding joy where the rest of the world just fades away like nothing else matters. I was happy, cuddled in with my love, soaking in every moment. I felt like we had somehow managed to expand time. Then, as I tucked into bed on Sunday night, I suddenly became overwhelmed with fear. We'd had a bit of a weather system come through over the weekend. Rain on Saturday, turning to snow on Sunday. And underneath the snow, everything was ice from 2 weeks of warm weather. And my love would be returning to work the next day, driving on highways that I feared would be slippery as fuck. Despite trying to distract my focus with a great romance novel that I was reading or my go-to-sleep hypnosis meditation, my mind was actively doing its absolute best to conjure as much deep, gut-wrenching fear as it could. I was terrified of my love driving to work the next day and ending up in some horrific accident that would take him from me. It's a fear that I'm well familiar with. Now, I hate when people feel that they need to report to me all the bad things that happen in the world. Murders, sudden deaths of friends or people in their 50s and 60s, stories of violence, all framed with an underlying message that the world is unsafe and we don't get to stay joyful. I stopped watching the news 20 years ago. I don't read or listen to the news. In fact, I actively change the station if the radio is reporting on the daily news. If it's important enough that I need to know, I'll find out somehow. Now, I used to be worried that people would think that I'm naive. In fact, I had countless people over the years tell me that I'm hiding my head in the sand or simply stare at me like I had just told them I had two heads in the past when I say that I don't watch, read, or listen to the news. But it was stealing all of the joy from my life. And I mean all the joy. I also hate when people get together and just talk about all the negative things in the world, the politics that are always going to put us in disaster, the flaws in the medical system, the greediness of boomers, or the shortage of housing, or the next waiting global disaster, the wars that are somehow always inevitable, the impending doom around every fucking corner. And I don't mind talking about real issues, but to me, if you're going to bring up challenging issues, you better come with solutions in mind. Bring some hope to the table and not some pansy ass, well, hopefully it will get better kind of hope. Not interested. Exchanges or discussions that lack any proactive thinking leave me horribly depressed, struggling for days to clear the mental cloud of scarcity, fear, and horror that everyone seems to glibly talk about and then just go on with their day. Dave used to give me the news in the morning and I fucking hated it. I'd wake up all ready for the day, feeling great, powered up with my favorite and only cup of coffee, all ready for the possibilities and the joy the day was sure to bring. And then it was like he dumped a literal bucket of shit on my head while saying, well, this is the world we live in, and then said, have a great day, as he headed out the door. I finally told him that I couldn't take it. If he wanted to watch or hear the news in the morning, put on headphones. If he wanted to discuss challenging world events, he could do so with me after work and before 8 p.m. That's my hard cutoff for any garbage from the world so that I can decompress and take in something joyful before bed. Now, I do this on purpose. I want to live my most joyful, expansive, most amazing life ever. And that reality does not vibe with stories intended to generate fear, scarcity, and terror. So, back to my weekend. I couldn't quite seem to figure out the fear-mongering voice in my head. Let me rephrase that. I couldn't quite seem to quit the fear-mongering voice in my head before I fell asleep, despite my best efforts, which meant that at some point in the night, I awoke with a start as fear gripped me again. Later, when Dave came in to say good morning and tell me that he was leaving for work, it was all I could do to not wrap myself around him and tell him he's not going to work, that I would not allow it. And then there was the fear that all this thinking about what could happen to Dave was manifesting it into my reality. Now I was not only afraid of this highly unlikely event happening, I was terrified that I was the one fucking causing it. I know how powerful of a manifester that I am. What if I was creating exactly the thing that I'm so deeply terrified of? The next morning, I'm out on my usual Monday morning grocery run. A few extra stops because I had a few extra groceries to pick up, which meant that I was driving a bit more than usual. And I'm listening to a program that I had invested in. The instructor is talking about sacred contracts, explaining what they are and what areas of life they apply to. So like your time and date of birth, your purpose, who your parents are, your childhood, all these things are listed among parts of the sacred contracts that our souls agree to before we incarnate in our current physical form. And then the instructor said, our death. And it stopped me in my virtual tracks. I mean, it was driving, so I wasn't like walking, but it definitely stopped me in my tracks. I had to rewind and hear it again. And there it was. Our death, the time and way of our death, is our own sacred contract. And most importantly, we cannot control or manifest someone else's death. Now, for a moment, I honestly lost my breath. And then all at once, my mind expanded as my chest released all this fear that I've been holding on to. Yes, I am a powerful manifester. And Dave has his own sacred contracts, just like I have mine. And that got me to thinking. So, if I can't actually cause his demise, thank all things holy and good for that, then what was this fear-mongering actually about? So as I unloaded the groceries in the car, I was mulling this over. I thought about what was happening right before this fear had started. Well, I had been enjoying the most spectacular weekend with my utmost favorite human in the universe, feeling loved, desired, seen, rested, and deeply joyful. And suddenly I heard Brené Brown's voice. Joy is vulnerable. She talks about how this happens to us when we're feeling such deep love or joy that suddenly out of nowhere we'll have a deep fear set in that we're going to lose it all. I had spent 48 hours vibrating at the highest frequencies I know, and it was different than the joy and the love I'd experienced the weekend of our wedding. I knew that was a special event and I was fully immersed, but I also knew that at some point that would be over and that wouldn't be happening every weekend. But this was just a normal weekend, just a regular Saturday and Sunday that was filled with such effortless ease and expansion, joy, love. And it wasn't because of any external factor. It was because I was simply sharing my time with my love. We were being together, loving each other as wholly and as powerfully as we could. The fear that was screaming in my mind wasn't because it was likely that something would happen to Dave. It was because I had expanded my level of joy and love and peace to a much higher plane. And my nervous system was trying desperately to ground me, to bring me back to a state of consciousness that I was familiar with and had already normalized. One where I could experience happiness and joy and love and connection and rest, but not so much of it and not in such an expansive way. It needed to be tempered with fear and scarcity. Those are the fastest ways to bring our frequency back down. Now, here is why that's such good news. I can proactively practice normalizing this expansion and calming my nervous system as I expand. In fact, I suspect it's one of the big lessons we all must learn if we want to live our dream reality and actually keep it. I trust that today's podcast episode has resonated with you in some way. And if so, I ask that you leave a review and or share the podcast episode. I will be sure to keep you updated as I really step into normalizing this new level of expansion, this new level of joy and ease and fucking effortlessness. It's amazing, and it's just mind-boggling to me how juicy and joyful and easeful it is. Now, with that reminder, the pre-sale for Building Vampires is over. However, Building Vampires is absolutely still available. And I want to let you know here and now that the pricing has gone up from the pre-sale price, of course, so now we're into regular pricing. However, I will be holding the price point at this point for only another week or two. And then the program is actually going to take a big jump up in price. And the reason for that is that the content that I am putting into this program is so fucking good and bigger than I originally thought. So if you are ready to expand your life in just the biggest fucking way, if you really are tired of feeling broke and miserable, maybe you're not feeling broke. Maybe you're just like, why can't I seem to figure money out? Why do I feel like I'm always behind? What is going on here? Why am I always spending more than I make, right? Whatever it is, whatever your struggle with money is, I want to invite you to join the Building Vampires program. So our focus is really on building grounded money knowledge, which is super important for building our confidence and our ability to use and leverage financial tools. And the second focus of the program is really in expanding your mind and helping you uncover all of the beliefs and stories and habits and patterns and the bullshit really that's running in the back of your mind that's really controlling the show that you aren't yet aware of, and bringing those to light so that you can heal them, clear them, reframe them, build them into something new. The program comes, of course, with 5 modules. I should say, of course, but like if you've been hearing podcast episodes, I've shared this before. There are currently 5 modules planned for the program. I have just finished recording the videos for week 2, and they're fucking lit. I'm really excited about them. I woke up this morning, minus the little moment of fear that I was describing earlier, thinking about a few extra things that I want to add in. So if you have been thinking about the Building Vampires program, I highly encourage that you get your buns in there now, because the pricing will be taking another increase in the investment. I will always make sure that this particular program is an approachable investment level. And I do use the word investment very on purpose. I could talk about it as price, which I did, and I could talk about it as cost, which I probably have mentioned a time before. But the truth is, it's an investment. It's not an investment in me, and it's not fucking thousands of dollars, but it's an investment in you. And that's the part that I really want you to understand, that when you join the Building Vampires program and I talk about the investment, you are not investing in me. You are investing in you. You are building you. You are creating knowledge and embodied wisdom and shifts and transformations that nobody can take away from you. So if you're ready for that, and you're ready to feel your most fucking powerful financial self yet, then get in there. Head on over to amyvanmeal.com amy.com/money. I will put that in the show notes, of course, because I think most people probably don't know how to spell my last name at this point. So amyvanmeel.com/money. Join the Building Vampires program. The current pricing will hold for sure until February 8th. I may hold it a little longer than that, and then it will take another increase, and then it will stay at that next price. All right. So amyvanmeel.com/building vampires. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. If you have already left me a review, thank you so much. If you've been meaning to, then this is my invitation and reminder to please leave a review on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you are listening and want to take a screenshot and share it out on the socials, be sure to tag me at Amy Van Meel. And again, that's all in the show notes. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.